So, have you ever found yourself looking at the price of, I don't know, some popular tech gadget, maybe like wireless earbuds, and you see the price in one country, then see it somewhere else, and it's almost double? We're talking the exact same thing, same brand, same everything, but the price is just, whoa.
Hmm.
Makes you stop and think, right? Well, yeah, you're definitely not alone there. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this pretty fascinating and honestly pretty frustrating situation. We're focusing specifically on why Apple AirPods and really electronics generally cost so much more in Brazil compared to, say, the US. We're going to try and unpack all these layers, the taxes, the economy, how stuff gets distributed, even some cultural things. It's a bit of a mystery, actually. And speaking of unpacking things, if you love getting smart fast like we do, you should really check out Mind Expansion Daily. Honestly, we get some incredible insights like the ones fueling this deep dive from there. It's just a gold mine of knowledge. And hey, while you're thinking about it, please do hit that like and subscribe button for Mind Expansion Daily. It genuinely helps us create more content like this for you. Also, if you find this stuff valuable, maybe consider buying us a coffee. The link's right down there in the description. We really love hearing from you too. So, here's a challenge. Leave a comment. Tell us if you agree or disagree with our summary today. Oh, and let us know where you're tuning in from. We're trying to reach people all over the world.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that this isn't just about AirPods, is it? This whole Brazil situation, it really shines a light on these bigger uh, global economic forces and trade issues that affect consumers everywhere. We've gathered quite a stack of sources, economic reports, tech analyses, you name it, to really dig into the why behind this huge price difference.
Okay, let's get concrete then. Some hard numbers. We're talking AirPods Pro 2. What's the price gap looking like right now, say August 2025, between the US and Brazil?
Right. So in the U.S., the suggested retail price, the MSRP, is $249. But, you often see sales on Amazon or Best Buy where they drop down to maybe $169, even lower sometimes.
Mm.
Now, Brazil, the same AirPods Pro 2, they go for around 2,799 Zares. That's R2.
Okay, our $2,799. And what's that in US dollars, roughly, with the current exchange rate?
Well, the exchange rate's been hovering around 5.4 raised to the dollar. So do the math, and that our $2,799 comes out to approximately $518 USD.
$518 compared to maybe $169 on sale in the US.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
that's insane. Nearly double the MSRP, almost triple the sale price for the same tech. Okay, so the big question is just why? How does that even happen? Where do the sources tell us to look first?
Well, the first place everyone points, and it's a big one, is Brazil's tax system. It's
Okay.
complex, very complex. It's almost like a maze when it comes to imported goods, especially electronics. Lots of layers.
A tax maze. Okay, break it down for us. What are these taxes we're talking about?
Okay, so first off, when electronics like AirPods come into the country, they hit the import tax. That's the POX. It can vary, but for electronics, it's usually somewhere in the 12 to 16% range.
12 to 16%. Okay, just getting started, I guess.
Right, just the beginning. On top of that, you've got the IPI, the Industrialized Products Tax. That's another federal tax, maybe 0 to 15% depending on the product. Then you've got PIS and COFINS. These are social contributions, essentially taxes on revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And together they add another 11.75%.
Wow.
And we're still not done. Then comes the ICMS. That's the state-level tax, kind of like VAT or sales tax elsewhere. And that adds another, say, 17 to 18% depending on the state.
Okay, my head's spinning already. So many acronyms, so many percentages. And you're saying they don't just add up simply, they compound.
That's the killer part. They compound. Each tax is calculated on the price after the previous taxes have been added.
So you're paying tax on the tax.
You got it. Tax on tax on tax. It means the effective tax rate, the total bite, often goes way over 60%. Sometimes it can even double the original cost of the product before it even hits a shelf. And since AirPods are made mostly in China and Vietnam, not Brazil, they get hit with all of this. The cost gets passed straight to the buyer.
That sounds intentional, like they're trying to protect local industries or something. Is that the idea behind these super high tariffs?
That's exactly the rationale, yes. It's a protectionist strategy. The government uses these high tariffs to try and shield Brazilian companies and encourage manufacturing within Brazil. The goal is, more local jobs, more self-sufficiency. Yeah. But the side effect is that imported tech, stuff that isn't made locally, gets incredibly expensive. Apple doesn't make AirPods in Brazil, so boom, they pay the full price.
Right. Unlike in the US, where being the home company, they avoid those import hurdles.
Precisely. And historically, yeah, we've seen figures showing AirPods Pro 2 costing up to 97% more in Brazil than the US, largely because of this tax structure.
Okay, so taxes are clearly a massive factor, a huge barrier. But it sounds like that's not the whole story, right? There's this Brazil cost thing too, the Questão Brazil. What else is going on economically?
Yeah, the wider economy is definitely another big piece. Brazil has struggled with high inflation for a while. In 2025, it's been running around 5–6%, which, maybe doesn't sound catastrophic, but it consistently eats away at people's buying power. And companies have to keep adjusting prices just to keep up.
And the currency, the real. I feel like we always hear about the BRL USD exchange rate being volatile.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
The Brazilian real, the BRL, has weakened quite a bit against the US dollar recently. Like we said, it's around 5.4 BRL to 1 USD now. That makes anything imported automatically more expensive in reais.
Because Apple prices globally in dollars, basically.
Pretty much. They set their prices often based on a USD equivalent, and then they have to adjust the local price in reais to protect their margins when the real drops. So weak real equals higher shelf price in Brazil.
Okay, and this Custo Brazil term, it sounds like it covers more than just taxes and exchange rates. What else falls under that umbrella?
Custo Brazil. Yeah, it's this catch-all term for all the other headaches and costs of doing business there.
Mhm.
Think bureaucracy, red tape, complex regulations, but also really practical stuff like logistics.
Logistics, like shipping.
Exactly. Transporting goods across Brazil is expensive. It's a huge country. The infrastructure can be challenging in places. Roads aren't always great. Security can be a concern.
Yeah.
Getting those Airpods from the port to the store shelf just costs more than it might in the US or Europe. Added warehousing costs,
Yeah.
compliance costs, it all gets baked into that final price. That's Cus Brazil.
Right. So you've got the taxes piling up, the economy making things tricky, and then just the basic cost of moving things around and navigating the system adds another layer.
Precisely.
Okay, what about how products actually get to the customer? The distribution channels, the market itself, does that play a role in the price?
It does. Apple's route to market in Brazil often involves several steps. It's not always direct. You might have Apple selling to an importer who sells to a distributor who then sells to the retailer.
And everyone needs to make a profit along the way.
Exactly. Each middleman adds their own markup to cover their costs, shipping, storage, dealing with regulations, plus their profit margin. It's not like the US, where Apple has tons of its own stores and a massive direct online sales operation. Brazil relies more on these third-party resellers. It fragments things and adds overhead.
And competition. Is the market just less competitive, allowing Apple to charge more?
That's also part of it. While there are definitely other brands, JBL, Samsung, Anker, lots of choices, Apple has built this really strong premium brand image in Brazil. They have significant pricing power, especially at the high end. And that ecosystem lock-in is powerful too, right?
Ah, yeah. If you've got the iPhone, the watch,
Yeah.
you kind of want the AirPods for that seamless connection.
Right. So people might be less sensitive to the price because they want that specific Apple experience.
Mhm.
That reduces the competitive pressure a bit.
Which brings us to something really interesting. Our sources mentioned the cultural side, the consumer behavior. Apparently, owning Apple stuff in Brazil means something more.
Yeah, this is super important and often gets missed. In Brazil, particularly for the urban middle and upper classes, owning Apple products. It's a status symbol. It signals success, being modern, being connected to the global scene. There's a real aspirational quality to it.
So it's not just about the tech specs.
Not entirely. That aspirational value means people are often willing to pay that premium. You see folks financing these purchases over many, many months, like paying in installments. Parcelado, they call it.
Paying for AirPods over a year or two.
It happens. Just to make it affordable month to month. And social media influencers, they all amplify this hype, keeping demand strong despite the high cost.
Wow. So people are genuinely willing to pay almost double, stretching their budgets because of what the brand represents.
To a very real extent, yes.
Yeah.
It also explains why you hear about people doing shopping tourism, flying to Miami or Orlando specifically to buy electronics cheaper.
Or using the gray market, getting things imported unofficially.
Exactly. It shows the frustration with local prices, but also how strong the desire for the product is. And Brazil's not totally unique here. You see similar dynamics in India, Turkey, other places with high import duties and strong brand cachet. But the mix of factors in Brazil makes it a particularly extreme example.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, it sounds like the crazy high price of AirPods in Brazil isn't down to just one thing. It's this, like you said, almost toxic mix of really high compounding taxes, economic instability with inflation and a weak currency, these extra Custo Brazil business costs, a multi-layered distribution system, and this powerful cultural desire for the brand.
Absolutely. And stepping back, thinking bigger picture, this isn't just tough for individuals wanting the latest gadget. It actually limits access to technology more broadly in a major developing economy.
Hmm.
It can widen the digital divide, making it harder for people to get the tools needed for education, business, just participating fully online.
That's a really important perspective. So, looking forward, any hope for change? What are potential solutions? Or are Brazilians just stuck paying double?
Well, real lasting change would probably require some major policy shifts from the government, like seriously tackling those high import tariffs to boost competition and make things more affordable. They've tinkered with duties on some electronics sometimes, but it needs to be more consistent and broad-based to really move the needle.
And for consumers right now,
For consumers, it's about being savvy, waiting for sales, considering certified refurbished options, or maybe looking at great alternatives from other brands that might not carry the same Apple tax, so to speak.
and economically, if the real strengthens, if maybe some of that custom Brazil gets easier, could prices come down a bit by, say, 2026?
It's possible. A stronger real would definitely help make imports cheaper. If Brazil manages to improve infrastructure or simplify bureaucracy, that helps too. But, with all the global uncertainty and how entrenched some of these issues are in Brazil, that big price gap could easily stick around for a while longer.
Which leads us back to you, our listener. Have you experienced this yourself? Maybe you've bought tech abroad to save money, or you live in a country where prices feel way out of line. We'd genuinely love to hear your story or your thoughts on this. Share them in the comments below. Maybe if enough people talk about it, it puts a little pressure on for fairer pricing globally. What's the one thing that really stands out to you from our deep dive today?